What's up, guys? PlayStation Fever here, and today I actually stumbled upon this article, right? And the title itself was called "Why No One Wants a PlayStation Vita." That's what it said. And so obviously it's an attention grabber. It got my attention. All right, what do you have to say about the Vita? So, obviously I agreed in some of the points. He does have some valid points, but in some other points I'm kind of like, that he's overreacting on that. I mean, for instance, he talks about the competition, right? He talks about like the exclusive games on when he compares it to the 3DS and the Vita. And he does actually have the list, and I would agree with that the 3DS has more exclusives than the PlayStation Vita. That I can see why, yeah. Which is and also he did mention this, which again I actually have to agree on this, that more of the PlayStation Vita exclusive games actually come from like third party as opposed to like first party from Sony. So he does have a point, like Killzone Mercenary and Tearaway are pretty much the only Sony exclusive games, and then everyone else is like third party. As opposed to Nintendo, with their Pokemon, their Mario, and their Zelda games, they're all obviously Nintendo exclusive, so they're from their first party, which actually makes sense. Obviously, well, the list he compares, it doesn't include any PSN titles, since he also mentioned about cross-buy and how that's actually killing the PlayStation Vita. I beg you differ, because I feel that the cross-buy is more of an incentive for people to buy the game, or even the PlayStation Vita hardware itself. For me, I've actually bought some of these games because of cross-buy. If I actually didn't have a Vita and I was actually buying a few games on the PlayStation Network, and then I knew that they can also be played on the Vita, that would actually be more of an incentive to buy a Vita. He kind of argues that kind of kills it away, that people actually decide not to buy a Vita because it's also on PS3. I think it's the other way around. I feel it's more of an incentive to people buy the PSN, therefore saying, wait a minute, if I already have these games on Vita, why not buy a Vita itself, try what the Vita has to offer. So I feel it's more of like an approach to actually get more people to buy the Vita. In my opinion, I really do believe that's the case. You can't argue that the price is too expensive. The Vita, the Wi-Fi model is like $199.99, so it's like $200. When it came out, that there was a 3G model which was like $300, which there's no way. Why would you buy a 3G? I mean, I don't know why I bought one. I was just because of the anticipation to get it a week early. But the 3G, I've never used it once, and I doubt anyone really uses it, the 3G, as extensively. So I really doubt that you should actually invest in the 3G model. But I mean, they're $200 now, so it's whichever case. But the 3DS does actually have like three models. It has the 2DS, which is obviously a joke in my opinion, but it's $130. Then it has a regular 3DS, which is $170, and then the 3DS XL, which is $200. The price, you can see, there's three models in the 3DS as opposed to the Vita only has one. But Sony does have the slimmer version of PlayStation Vita right now in Japan. And whenever that comes to the States, that could probably end up bringing the price down. But it does come to, actually, like it's like the 2DS. It comes with some drawbacks. For one thing, it doesn't use the OLED. It actually uses the LCD. So you lose quality in that, but you retain more battery life. So there's that. It could be a little bit cheaper, maybe a little cheaper to manufacture. So it could ultimately bring the Vita price down. And there is something I will have to agree with this guy. He's talking about the memory sticks being overpriced. He does have a point. I mean, when the 32GB came out, it was like $100. You know how many hot Cheetos I can buy with that? More than I need to. But now the price came down a little bit. It's like $80 now, but it's still really expensive, to actually buy one of these. A 4GB is around. It used to be $20. It came down in price. An 8GB came down in price. You can find it there was on sales, that sort of thing. But I feel that they have to bring down all of the memory stick prices down if we want people to actually maybe go digital, invest in PlayStation Plus, invest in PlayStation Network games. You need to actually make this more affordable. I can see why they decided to go this route and make their own type of PlayStation Vita memory sticks, to maybe to combat the old piracy, what happened with the PSP. I understand that. That's why when they went with Content Manager on the PlayStation Vita and the PC, but you have to bring down the price down with this one, because if you don't, not many people are going to want to go ahead and invest on PlayStation Plus, on Vita, or on PlayStation Network games all that much. So take advantage of that to actually, introduce more of that by lowering down the price. And so he does make an argument with that, and I do agree with that. The other thing, it actually kind of makes sense. It really does. It's the appeal. Like, who is the PlayStation Vita directed to? What is its audience? And it argues it's more like the hardcore. With games like Killzone, Assassin's Creed, and Call of Duty, you can see that it's trying to target that more of a mature audience, as opposed to a Nintendo, which obviously caters more of a casual, which anyone can actually adapt. With the whole mobile actually expanding with the handheld, just becoming a huge business now. How people just want to play like a legit, just quiet back chill game that's really more casual that anyone can pick up. I can see why though, but it's actually kind of lost momentum with 3DS and the PlayStation Vita itself. I mean, I personally, I'm a person that plays all sorts of games. I'm not like specifically to one genre. I mean, the PlayStation Vita does offer casual games like Tearaway. There's other games on the PlayStation Network that just more relaxed, chilled. That you don't have to actually, be super legit. It's not like graphics. It actually some really nice games for the Vita, like Soundstrip. That's a good game. But the thing I feel is that it's all on Sony's part for this one is the marketing part of it. They're not really marketing these games. It's like you have pretty awesome games. Why aren't you marketing them? It makes no sense to me. You're working well with the PlayStation 4 marketing, getting people to more excited, building up hype. How come they can't introduce the same thing with the PlayStation Vita with their games? It's like, come on. But I mean, I kind of agree and disagree on that because the Vita does have all sorts of games. It's not specifically to one, but I can see Nintendo being more like family friendly, and they've pretty much established that for a long time, and that's what people buy their handhelds and that sort of thing because they know what games to expect. As opposed to the Vita, like I said in the previous video, there really isn't like that like mascot for the PlayStation Vita to say. There isn't like that. Oh, like a 3DS. When I think, like a Game Boy, I think Pokemon. I think of these games. A 3DS. I think again Pokemon. I think Zelda, Mario, specifically that one. So these franchises have already established their name, right, all throughout the home console, but also in the portable space. And while the PlayStation Vita hasn't really established that, like, this game like Call of Duty would have been a great addition had it been made properly, had actually both Sony and Nailstick and maybe even Activision, everyone actually got together and decided, all right, let's go ahead and make a pretty awesome game on PlayStation Vita. Had it been done properly and had it been fun and everything we left from Call of Duty, this would have been like, I guess, the biggest gem for the PlayStation Vita. Problem with that, they rushed it. It seemed like they didn't really care. There wasn't much marketing on that part. Even with that, okay, because of Call of Duty, right? That itself almost sold. It was the second best-selling PlayStation Vita game, right? Despite the problems and everything else that happened with it, it still was the second best-selling PlayStation Vita. So if you actually take more like familiar third-party franchises, right? Uncharted Golden Abyss on the Vita, that was a great addition, but branch out a little bit more. Make more of a proper Call of Duty. Make maybe a Battlefield 4. Make a, that'd be amazing. Obviously, it's kind of in the talks. Who knows? Hopefully, that'd be awesome if it would actually happen. But like a Grand Theft Auto, like a Gran Turismo. Even that's one of the gems on PlayStation, right? It's still selling a lot, even throughout the years. So if you actually have these more familiar franchises that Sony has been able to establish, but also third party, again, it's all on Sony's part if they actually want to go ahead and get committed on it, or whether they just don't really care about it. Overall, obviously the article exaggerates with its title that no one wants a PlayStation Vita. That is obviously a huge exaggeration. He does make points on the PlayStation Vita's memory sticks. They're pretty much overpriced. Don't get me wrong, they're overpriced, and that's outrageous what they're doing with that. If we want more exclusive games on the Vita, I feel that they actually should have more familiar franchises on the Vita to establish that base, to establish more people, PlayStation Vita owners. Therefore, you get more owners, then you can start, making, kind of new games and stuff. Gravity Rush is a great game. It's really different from anything else, but it didn't really sell that well. If you want to invest on these, different types of IPs and stuff, you need to actually build a base. How do you do that? By having familiar franchises on the PlayStation Vita. I mean, they're doing with Borderlands too, but that game is kind of old, Do something different, build, assuming like what they did with Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. It was like pretty much a spin-off of like the for the handhelds, right? Of the whole Grand Theft Auto series. If, Rockstar, everyone else that worked there got together, maybe worked on something on the Vita, that'd be great. With Battlefield 4, building that stuff, something like that. That'd be awesome, but we'll have to see. With PlayStation Now, which is kind of like this new cloud streaming service being implemented later on in 2014, we'll see what it offers on the Vita. But till right now, we'll see what. We'll stick around though to see how the Vita develops over. It's pretty much been 2 years now, and we'll see how it happens. Well, thanks again for watching, guys. Enjoy the video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I shall see you on the next one.